So this is my uh, presentation over my internship this summer with St. Louis Gallagher. So yeah, let's just get started with it. That's not gonna work. There we go. So just kind of overview of the organization. This club, or well, I should just say these clubs sort of are a very historic group of clubs that go very far back in St. Louis soccer history, and they've been around from what's it say here? 1967 was dated back to Scott Gallagher's first game when they weren't St. Louis Scott Gallagher at first. They were just Scott Gallagher Soccer Club. And then here in 2007, there's three different clubs, three different just St. Louis clubs that were just one of them, I believe, was actually called like St. Louis Soccer. I'm not for sure, but they all merged into one, and now that is what we all know now as St. Louis Scott Gallagher, which is um, a club that, for me at least, I grew up in. I played in for many, many years, and it's going to be a club that's going to be around for a very long time with the way that they do things. And this club now has many, many different teams. I can't even remember how many anymore. Within the age groups from U16 to U19, which is a lot of age groups, and there are a lot of teams at each age group with a lot of very skillful kids. So, yeah, this is a very, very big soccer club here in St. Louis. So my roles and duties this summer, I was pretty much just kind of like a coach, and so I just had to really help them set up for this thing that they called soccer school. And what it was an opportunity for kids that were invited to come out and kind of showcase their skills a little bit, and also at the same time get to work on them and even get better and learn some new things while they're at it, and maybe meet some kids that could be future teammates. You never really know. So yeah, my main duties were to I would get there early, help them set everything up. That way, when the kids showed up, everything was set up, and we could just kind of send them off where they needed to be. So it was set up and take that down at the end of the day. And then even now, I'm working on a project of evaluation forms for each player that was involved in their soccer school. And this is going to be something that they want to use in the future for all their coaches. That's really going to help them out for, like, each player. Just if a coach gets a new player, they can kind of look at this thing that their previous coach had and get a little bit of an understanding once before they fully really get to know them. So for my goals for this internship, I wanted to get myself more involved in the player development side of things. That's somewhere where I really see myself being in the future, whether it be fully just, training kids to kind of try and get better and, teaching them skills and everything, or if it's that fully being a coach and having my own team and going out playing tournaments and everything. Either one, really. I could see myself doing either one, and I think either one would be a good position for me. I wanted to show my supervisor and my other employees at the club that they can rely on me for really anything that they needed done. Whether it be just go move some stuff, go grab something for us real quick, like from the back from this shed that we had everything in, anything. Yeah, just letting them know that I was always going to be there to really kind of help them get things done and build good relationships and make a lot of different connections within the club. Um, I can say that I feel like I met somebody new just about every day, and that is not fully what I expected, but definitely definitely met a lot of new people, which was something that was really cool. Made a lot of good connections there. Did I achieve these goals? I do believe I achieved these goals. I showed up every day ready to work, ready to show them that, even if it's something super simple that you're asking me to do, I'm going to put my all into it. And even if it's something that, I might be confused about, I'm going to ask first. And, whether I got made fun of for asking questions, which happened a few times, but that's okay. That was just what happened as the intern there, they said. But yeah, just asking questions just so that I knew what to do. And that way, then in the future, if the same problem came up, I could solve that problem easy for us all, and there would be no problems. So, yeah, I do really feel like I achieved all these goals. I met a lot of people, made a lot of connections, and showed a lot of people how hard of a worker I am. So, what did I learn? For starters, this club, the way that they kind of assemble their teams and, figure out about different players, it's not at all how I would have expected whatsoever. It's I even being a part of it now, looking back on it and growing up in this kind of system a little bit and being a part of it, it's not all how I would have expected things to go behind the scenes. But yeah, it's crazy to see on how they have all this information about just young kids and their playing styles and everything. And it yeah, it was mind blowing to me. But building good relationships with these kids, once you started to build good relationships with them, it really motivated them to want to work harder. Because I noticed like my first few days and weeks there, I didn't know a whole lot of the kids. Some of them would come up and talk to me a little bit, not too much, but the more I got to know them, it seemed like the more and more they wanted to, really, uh, really kind of keep focusing on their practices and stuff, and not be so worried about why is this guy here, like what's he doing, because their coaches kind of told them I was a youth national team scout. So kept the kids on their toes a little bit. Um, and then this last one, the importance of communication, which can be stressed anywhere. There was a lot of times where we'd be short on coaches, and if it was just a simple, text of, "Hey, I'm not going to make it," easily could have been figured out, but it's okay. We got it all figured out in the end, and yeah, it just shows that communication goes a very long way. So my biggest takeaways from this internship, one big one was that even at a young age, there is so much work going on behind the scenes uh, into making these teams. Kind of like how I started off with this last slide. There's a whole, whether it be, some of these coaches going out and just watching these kids, taking small little mental notes and stuff, and going and telling, whether it be talking to their coaches, talking to other coaches, trying to, find new teams for them and stuff. Um, yeah, that it's crazy how much goes into it. I never really would have thought it just for a youth level, but there's a lot that goes into it. Something else I thought was important was how how easy it makes things go if everything's really already planned out. So every week for us for soccer school, we already had what we were doing planned out. Monday nights was game nights every week. All we had to do was go set the fields up with goals. All the kids did was play, and it was super easy for us. The other 2 days on Wednesdays and Thursdays, we had to set up 1v1s, shooting drills, um, just dribbling stuff, and just areas for them to run in and kind of work on their running techniques and stuff. So there's a whole lot of other stuff we had to set up and everything. Um, oh, wow. I just kind of realized, I'm sorry, I wasn't fully done with that. There's a whole lot of stuff we had to set up, and uh, it would just be a hassle if we showed up and nothing was set up at all, and just kind of had to go from there and be like, okay, here we go. But yeah, having everything set up before and having it all planned out really saved a lot of time and effort for all of us. Um, the last big takeaway was keeping these young kids' attention. It was not the easiest thing. They are all very hyped up, and a lot of them have gone from one camp to another that day, which really surprised me on how they're not worn out. But they have so much energy and just want to run around and kick the ball and laugh with all their friends and everything. But um, just at least keeping things fun for them, it always made it a lot better. If they knew they were going to be doing something that was going to be fun, then obviously they're going to pay attention to what they're going to be doing and make sure that they're doing it right. And that was all we wanted to do, is try and make sure that everything stayed fun for them, but while they could still do it at a level to where they were getting better. Oh, what growth have I had in myself? I've seen me become more outgoing, and not even just meaning going up to a person and being like, "Hey, how are you?" Simple conversation. It's more of wanting to go up and actually meet these people and fully make a connection with them, and maybe later on down the line it's going to help me out in the future. But half the people that I went up to and would talk to, if there was somebody new there at least, um, it was never just a quick, "Oh, hi, nice to meet you," and then just leave it at that. It was always a nice, good 10 to 15-minute conversation after that. And that's really what I wanted whenever it came to meeting anybody new, just so I could actually kind of make a little bit of a meaningful connection with them. And hopefully there was something that I said to them that'll, you know, have always kind of keep me in the back of their head a little bit. And if they see me again, they'll be like, "Oh, okay, I remember you." Yeah. So, um, I started to speak up a little bit more when I'm confused. That was something I didn't do as often. I just kind of tried to figure everything out myself. But yeah, I started to speak up a lot more when I was confused, and it helped me out so much. So much, so much. So that's one thing I would stress big time. And I now have a new experience from work. Like, this is going on my resume. This is going to stick with me forever. I could be doing something along the lines of this. So, like in my future. So, seeing that I've already kind of had a little bit of experience in that area is going to really help me out if I'm really trying to go this route in my future. So, let me move this, even though it just says, what would I tell my, okay, there we go. What would I tell my younger self? So the one thing I would tell my younger self was just to not be afraid to ask questions. 'Cause like I was just talking about, it was a little something that I struggled with, and it was difficult for me. And I don't know why. I really don't. It just I never really wanted to ask questions. I always felt like I was being a bit of a nuisance whenever I would ask because I didn't know what was going on, and I felt like it would always just really annoy people and just wouldn't look good on me in the workplace. But no, asking questions shows that you at least care and want to know what you're doing. So then if this comes up again, it's not a problem anymore. But yeah, it was a problem for me. And I say this summer, I'd really asked a lot of questions to make sure I fully understood what all was going on with anyone around me. And it really helped me out with all of my tasks that I was doing this summer. So just asking questions if you're confused. I really cannot stress that enough to anybody, like I just said. Like, I wish I could really go back and tell my younger self that, because I think that was my number one thing that I would not do. But that has changed now. Advice for incoming students. Best advice I can give is that there's going to be things that you're probably going to have to do that you may not enjoy and you may not like it, but it's okay. That's just part of the experience right there. You're gonna have to do things you're not gonna want to do, or you're not gonna enjoy, but in the end, that's only gonna help you in the long run, because you know you don't want to do that anymore. You don't have to go through that again ever again. Like, you don't have to go, oh, maybe I could be okay at this, go try this job out, get the interview, get it, and then all of a sudden it's something you completely hate. You at least already know that if you've tried it out. So that would be my biggest thing, is at least giving stuff a try. I know Dr. B stressed that to me enough, and now I've started trying stuff out, and yeah, we're getting there. Advice for sports management students: uh, don't be afraid to just get started somewhere. I know that was a big struggle I had, was just getting started, and not even just like, getting my interview, getting my job, and going to work. Just even applying was a struggle for me. And that was the biggest starting point, I think, that I really mean by all this when I say starting somewhere. It took me a lot, like I said here, it took me a long time to really find somewhere I feel like I would want to work at. But I just never really wanted to try anything new at first. And I think that's what's really kind of held me back these last few years. But now that I've started wanting to try more stuff out and everything, it's gone a lot better, and I've seen a lot of improvements. So yeah, just gotta keep on keep on trying stuff out right after you get started, and just don't be afraid to take that first step. Advice about sports management: anyone that's wanting to get into this, I would say go work any kind of sporting event first. Go see if you enjoy it. If you don't enjoy it, maybe not for you. There are other areas in sports, so that is a good thing for you. There, if you don't enjoy working sporting events, you could be more of a behind the scenes person. So maybe it's that. But I would say work some kind of sporting event, do something for some kind of sport event, like related kind of thing, and see on how you feel about it. And if it's then, you know, if it's something you like, great, keep at it. If it's not what you like, if you think you're looking for something else, okay, that's okay. You at least know now. So yeah, just maybe go work something and see how it is. And I guess it's kind of the same way for anybody that's going to stick with it in the sports industry. If you don't enjoy that area, move on to the next one, find another one. Just keep getting those experiences. And I mean, in the end, it really will only help you out if you really get a bunch of them. Somebody's going to see, wow, you have all this. So yeah. So in conclusion, for me, working with Scott Gallagher this summer I had a blast. It was great. I really enjoyed getting to coach all these kids and getting to see all the skills that, you know, a lot of these kids have at such a young age. And I know I wasn't that skillful when I was that young, so it's really cool to see. But helping coach these sessions taught me a lot about what goes on in a soccer club, and just in the end, I always kind of thought it was a soccer club. They had a bunch of teams, got jerseys and stuff. That was the end of it. But no, there's a lot more that goes into it, a whole lot more, and I got to really kind of live in that a little bit this summer. It was really cool to see. And yeah, this was something I enjoyed getting to do and is going to help me out in the future. And, hopefully this is something that maybe I can keep going with just because I have this experience now. And hopefully it would really help me out to, maybe get a job like this in my future. So that would be all for this.